Well, it ain't no easy life, working for a price that never gets you out of debt. Well, it only makes you fret, singing low, singing high. Well, tomorrow is another day, but I'm singing just the same, singing low, singing high. Well, tomorrow is another day.
So I've made it out now to the Allatoona Pass battlefield area, and here you can see this is Lake Allatoona. As a matter of fact, this giant pile of rocks here is actually part of the natural dam to keep the water back from these homes. What you actually see here, this is the sign that commemorates the opening of the Allatoona Pass battlefield here. And actually this right here, this road, or this trail I should say, actually follows the original Western and Atlantic Railroad stop. As you can see, there are some signs up the way there to kind of commemorate that. This is what the area looks like right around here today. You can see that there's a road that passes right there, and you have some houses, and of course you have the trail, and then you have the lake, which is actually right there. Now the lake is actually covering up a lot of history. The American Indians, the Cherokee and the Creek, would come up here and do a lot of trading and stuff without fear of getting attacked. And there's actually a trail that used to be right underneath this lake. I'm down here in the memorial field of Allatoona Pass battlefield. It's a very interesting place. They have state monuments for, I think, every state that fought in the Battle of Allatoona Pass. There's the Louisiana Monument, Alabama, North Carolina, Mississippi, Missouri, Texas, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Ohio. All states fighting for what they believed to be right. Look at this map right here. Camera position. This is where the original photo was taken, and this is where I'm standing actually. Right around here is where I'm standing here, and you can actually tell this is where the photograph was taken, right about here in 1864. I believe that's when that photograph was taken anyways, just before or after the battle. But you can see in the picture you have two ridges. The first one kind of is there, and the next one is kind of there, and then the railroad goes straight through here and splits. And actually, this is still, the trail that we're following is the original path of the old railroad. Now, if we look here, see where this trail is going to take us. It's going to take us all down here where the old Western and Atlantic wartime route was, and most of the fighting was right in this area here, if I'm reading this correctly. It really doesn't get prettier than this. I mean, you're following a trail that has been etched out by people for almost 200 years. At one point, very large steam trains passed through here. But you can see just, I mean, the rocks that they had to blow through to cut this hill down to size to put a train through here. It's amazing. It's actually really amazing. You can still see up there, see that line right there that marks that they had to make in order to cut down this, you know, this hill, really, is incredible. And it's actually, I'm actually kind of freaked out right now because it is silent in here. I mean, I don't hear any birds, I don't hear any wind. All I hear are the occasional crickets and the water dripping down off these rocks. And that frog. But everything else, I mean, it is silent in here. If any of y'all are wondering, I've actually never been to this battlefield. I went to the memorial field like 4 years ago, but besides that, I've never actually been here before. And it's actually, I'm just blown away how it looks, how everything is right here. I mean, it's incredible. But on a side note, if you've never been to Georgia before, it's September 1st today when I'm making this video. If you've never been to Georgia in the summer and you ain't used to heat, I do not recommend it. It is boiling out here. It's ridiculous. The sign here actually briefly talks about a crude bridge that was constructed by felling 2 pine trees across the cut, planking them over and adding a handrail is what it says here. But it says, during the battle, Private Edwin R. Fullington of the 12th Wisconsin Artillery crossed the bridge there 3 times with grape shot and canister to replenish the federal ammunition in the Star Fort. So from there to there was a bridge, and this private here, Private Edwin R. Fullington, actually crossed it 3 times with ammunition to resupply the Wisconsin artillery. Apparently up these stairs, this leads to the Star Fort Trail. Now I don't know how much of this fort is left, but I'd be very interested to see the ground that it was on. The Star Fort is where the Federals had garrisoned their artillery at. Just behind this sign here was an earthen built redabout nicknamed Rowett's Redabout, as it says on this marker here. Some of the heaviest fighting in the war actually occurred right here behind these trees and down the hill a ways. It was there that one of the few, if one of the only bayonet fights in the war was fought right here. It may not look like much. It may not look like much, but this is actually where the fight at the Star Fort was located. It was right down in this area here that the Confederates charged up this hill. So they charged up from this direction right here. And they came up this hill right here. And it was about somewhere in this area here. This is the Star Fort, by the way, where this, where the ground, pardon me, seems to come up and go back down. This is the Star Fort. This is where the Federals were located, here. And the Confederates would march up this hill and charge up this hill. And right around this area here, actually, in this general area, is where the Federals had a 3-inch ordnance rifle that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was right here. And the 3-inch ordnance rifle was fired right down into that way along the Confederate lines. And when that happened, Confederates fell in scores and scores of blood and intertwined limbs, all piled up right along this ground right here where I'm standing. This is the Star Fort here, and actually you can see there's a gap right there where the earthworks come down and then turn sharply this way. And actually, if you look on this sign, that is that picture right there. See if I can't cover up the shadow a little bit there. But you can see that photograph was taken right where I'm standing here. The camera will focus. There are about 700 Federals cramped inside of this little area right here. These 6-foot high, once 6-foot high walls defended the fort from the Confederate advance as they surrounded it on 3 sides. By the way, I'm kind of summarizing what is on the plaque here, if you can't tell. And it says on the plaque, following the battle, 192 bullet holes were counted in the American flag that had flown inside of Star Fort. Or the Star Fort, I should say. So this is actually very interesting. If you remember back in the picture, you can actually walk over here and you will see there were 2 guys standing, one of them right here and one of them right here. which I think is very cool. And this is the Star Fort. And there were scores of Confederates and Federals that were killed right along these walls right here. Now I have been noticing something actually. A lot of these trees you can see here are marked red, and I don't know why. And if anybody does know why, I would encourage you to let me know down in the comments, because I have no idea what that means. Like I was saying, very interesting amount of history right here. I mean, a lot of people who live in Georgia and who live in the South actually don't realize how much history is right here in front of our faces, and it's just amazing. And I have just come upon a cliff. Good Lord. So this camera doesn't really do it justice, but that is a cliff right down there. You can see it actually kind of comes down first right here, and then again about there. And if you remember earlier, I was telling y'all about that that guy who's in the Wisconsin battery. He actually had to go and get ammunition from over there, cross a bridge that was made out of 2 pine trees and a handrail with planks on alongside it, and actually cross all of this right here 3 times. I don't know how many times I can tell you no thank you. I would never. I'm not really scared of heights, I'm more scared of falling, and that's one of those things where I would not be okay with that. So amongst other things that I was telling y'all, I also cannot just get over how beautiful this land is right here. I mean, I love history. History is my passion. That's, you know, especially Civil War history and Georgia history. But I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, just how impressive all of this is. I mean, it's amazing. And while I'm over here, let's look at this hole. It was dug out right here. I mean, that's pretty cool. See how the earth has just come off in shards like that. Very interesting. A testament to the soil of Georgia right there. It is abysmally hot outside. I don't think y'all know. Can't wait till winter. I'm going to be doing more of these videos, but I'm going to be doing them in winter when I ain't sweating my tail off there, because this is brutal. So I have no idea what this is. I'm walking down this ravine looking thing right now. Walked into several spider webs. I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm just kind of looking around, and I really don't know what this is. I mean, I imagine this is man-made, much like the rest of the Allatoona Pass is. There's nothing here that tells me to get off of this, so I don't know if this is a trail or this is something else. Judging by the look of it, I reckon that's where the Star Fort is up there. And I'm right now, actually might be down over here by the Redabout. Let me see. So I was walking through the woods just now, and talking about the Redabout, and I nearly stepped on this little guy right here. This little snake. I believe this is a black racer or a garter snake or something of the like. I know he's non-venomous, so I'm not necessarily concerned, but he scared the crap out of me, I tell you that. That's for sure. So after that little experience with the snake right there, it's kind of making me all the more nervous about where I'm stepping, so I'm just gonna like stare at the ground for the entirety of my walk over here. But as I was saying, before the snake interrupted me, I believe this is where the Redabout was, or it's somewhere close to it, but as I was coming down here to check that out, I came upon more of the lake, which is always pretty interesting. Across the way there, got a little friend staring at me now. A little buck, he's running back up into the woods now. This area is actually pretty untouched for what it is. I mean, there's this little bit of trash right here, and there's some over there where that deer was standing, but the majority of this area is actually very nice. I'll have a picnic right here. So this is the path that the Western and Atlantic Railroad took, which is very, I mean, I still can't wrap my head around that. There was a railroad track right where on this trail that I'm walking on behind me here. You can see down there, there's some of the lake, right down in there. But a lot of this battlefield right here, unfortunately, has been covered up because there's more lake right back there. But this lake was created after an earthen dam was built right back in here, and actually, I believe it was the Etowah River that was dammed up and sent flowing elsewhere, I guess. But it's a very interesting thing. I mean, the train track, the trestle track, I guess, trestle bridge, I don't know. But this portion of the train track behind me here actually was high enough to where I guess it didn't get covered up by the water. But I don't know, that's just my guess. But it's very interesting, the history of this area. The grave of the unknown hero is actually a very interesting part of Georgia history right here. Now the grave was either right where this sign is, I'm not sure if it's right here. There's a mound of dirt right there, but it was somewhere in this general vicinity here. And the soldier was buried where he fell. They believe the private that was buried, but Private Andrew Jackson Houston of Mississippi. And he was buried right here, at least they believe that to be the case. And it has spawned a lot of stories, a lot of different accounts of the battle and what had happened, but it is always a good reminder to remember the fact that, you know, these heroes, you know, suffered both north and south, suffered and fought and died for what they believed was right, just as the gravestone said. So right in here, right beside where the train would go, right here, the grave was right there. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there are very few, if any, natural lakes in Georgia. At least in North Georgia anyways. I'm gonna go down this trail, this is new. This is the fun part of exploration that makes me so excited, is you'll just kind of stumble upon like, oh, this is a different trail. Let's see where this goes. I'm like 99.9% sure this trail dumps me off right here at the lake, because there's a lake there, and there's a lake in front of me. So I wonder if this is like a swimming spot, or if this is some thing down here at the end. Nope. This is just the lake. This is the shore of it. Oh, that right there is an old tree. I wonder if there are any witness trees from the war. I wonder if this one is a witness tree. It was alive during the battle. Very old. I'm out here on a Thursday afternoon. It's my day off. So there's nobody out here right now. But I mean, you can see, this is Lake Allatoona right here. I'm actually standing in a fire pit right now, so it looks like this is kind of a campsite of some sort, but this is very nice. This is Lake Allatoona. But of course, back in 1864, when the battle was fought, this was just land. There actually was not anything here but forest or trees or a field or whatever it happened to be, you know, that was here on this land. So this is very, very interesting right here. Admit, this is probably one of the nicer lakes I've been to. I've been to Lake Hartwell with my girlfriend, and if you've ever been to Lake Hartwell, you know what that's like. I mean, it's not a bad lake, but it ain't this. But I mean, look at this. This is very nice. The water's clear. It's calm. I mean, this place right here, this just looks untouched. Look at that. That's so cool. It doesn't mean there's probably not like a flesh-eating bacteria in there that's gonna kill me if I have like an open cut or something, but it's still a very nice part of Georgia. I like it. It is abysmally hot outside. I don't think y'all know. Can't wait until winter. I'm gonna be doing more of these videos, but I'm gonna be doing them in winter when I ain't sweating my tail off here, because this is brutal. I'm down here at what appears to be like the great retention pond of Lake Allatoona, but I found this really old, large tree right here. I'm not sure if that's like oak or maple or what it is. I'm not a tree person, but it's a very beautiful tree. I wonder if this has been here since the war. If anybody here knows anything about trees, don't shy away from letting me know, because this is great. So I'm sitting here on the edge, kind of on a little bit of a ledge here, but I'm sitting here on the edge of Lake Allatoona. I've since walked from there where you saw those poles all the way to here, but there does not appear to be anything more for the Battle of Allatoona. I mean, I've kind of walked over the main points of it. I walked over the Star Fort, and I walked over a couple other things, and there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot else out here for this battle. I understand it's a smaller battle, so I'm not expecting, you know, like Kennesaw Mountain or Chickamauga or something like that, but a lot of the battlefield, a lot of where I'm standing right now, you know, the soldiers treaded underfoot where this water now comes over it. So it's a very interesting thing, though. I mean, there's a lot to this battlefield. I'm sure there's more, you know, incredible moments and incredible scenes of history. Oh man, I'm standing up now, but there just doesn't seem to be a lot more that is very battle specific sitting around out here, and kind of a shame, actually. I kind of wish there was a little bit more to it, but I haven't walked the whole trail, mostly because the whole trail is about 10 miles long, I think, or something like that. So after having marched a good way, after having walked a good way, I should say, I'm walking back now. I don't see anything left of the battlefield. I think everything behind me now is supposed to be like the scenic route, and there's no signage. I mean, I know soldiers were there. Of course, there's all kinds of stuff happening here, but that's not where like the majority of the fighting was. So I'm headed back now. If I see something else cool along the way, I'll definitely check it out.